Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to paint a elk calf. Now you're thinking, no, what, Sue? Why an elk calf? Why an elk calf? Well, I will actually be in Waynesville, North Carolina at the Twigs and Leaves Art Gallery in downtown Waynesville on June the 5th. Well, May and June is prime elk calving time. So if you're familiar with Waynesville, North Carolina, there's elk everywhere, lots and lots of elk. And a lot of the folks that come to North Carolina, to that area, come to see and photograph the elk. So folks love to go to art galleries and bring a little piece of their trip home with them. And I'm hoping that if my hunch is correct and I go ahead and paint an elk calf, I'll get that little sucker sold. So in today's video, we are going to paint an elk calf. So again, thank you for joining me today. I am Suzanne Barrett Justis, and if you came here, it's because you like to see painting tutorials, art reviews, just whatever I happen to come up with. Hopefully I don't scare you away with some of the stuff that I put up, but I do appreciate you being here. And if you are my subscribers, thanks again so much. And if you're not, please subscribe. And and another thing too is if you have any questions at all about anything I'm covering, even about the brushes that I'm using or whatever, leave in the comment section and I'll get to it. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the painting of an elk calf. All right, let me see if I can remember my colors since I just squirted this palette out. It should be fresh in my mind, right? I've got my warm colors grouped over here, and I have just a tiny bit of Michael Harding's China Vermilion. I have Nathal Red. I have Burnt Umber, Yellow Ochre, Burnt Sienna, and Indian Yellow. Of course, I have my Titanium White. I have Ultramarine Blue, King's Blue, Manganese Violet, Diacetyl Purple, Light Saint Remy Green, Radiant Green. This happens to be a Gamblin color, the Radiant Green, and this is actually a Savant color. This is Payne's Gray, Ivory Black. Now, unless I specify, I can almost guarantee that my colors are probably Winsor Newton paints. Like all these are Winsor Newtons here. This this happens to be a Gamblin. Of course, this is Winsor Newton. This is the Vermilion is Michael Harding. Pretty much everything else, unless otherwise specified, is probably the Winsor Newton. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go ahead and get started on an elk calf. Yeah, that's what I kind of was feeling today. So let's see how far we can get today. I hope I can get it finished. Okay, I'm going to start this piece using these three brushes. I have a Rosemary number 3 pointed round. That's this guy. And then I have a number 5 Eclipse long filbert. That's this guy. And then I have this number 6 Eclipse long filbert. And I started doing this as a sketch and then I was failing miserably. And I know for myself, oftentimes it's better for me just to go ahead and jump in onto the surface that I'm painting on and either do a wipeout or anything just to get my bearings and get my composition in. I am painting on a super smooth gessoed panel. So this is so it allows me to get a lot of detail in, and that's what I'm going for. But I also want to do this painting rather quickly, okay? So let's see where we go with this. I'm starting out this painting with just doing a wipe out here. So I'm just kind of sketching in where this little calf's face is going. I had originally done a just a charcoal sketch on this surface and it just wasn't right. So here I am just doing a wipeout. Now, and I'll use a paper towel, but mainly just the brush to get my shapes in, just looking at the actual shapes. And now I'm just doing a loose sketch, and you can see I'm using the pointed round, the number 6 Ivory Rosemary brush. It's a number 6 pointed round. And you know, the ivories are awesome. They're like a synthetic boar. I really prefer them over the natural boar bristle. But here we are. I'm just kind of sketching this in and getting in the shapes and just plugging away. I've switched now to using the Eclipse long filbert. I believe that's a number 5 that I'm working with, and I'm just popping in the colors. So it seems like I exaggerate the colors initially when I'm putting them in, but it's because I need that intensity of color underneath as my initial bottom layer of color. So yeah, it looks very purple, very red, very blue, you'll see here in a little bit, I'll have, I believe I put down Indian yellow on the warm side of this little calf. But yeah, so there's a lot of intensity at first. Yeah, speak about intensity. I've got my cadmium and China vermilion and you know, everything into the ears here, and I'm really like the intensity at first. I know it looks really bizarre, but trust me, I'll layer it in, and you know what? Ears are a funny thing, right? They're very vascularized, and yeah, they'll look really intensely red on the inside when light shines through them. So I kind of like that part. I just wanted the background to be kind of fun and bright, and that's what I'm doing here. And I was trying to show you there, I was using, I believe, the smusher brush, one of Rosemary's smushers, to just fuzz out and fade that background in. I did not want it to have a lot of detail, so the smushers are great for that. They just kind of brush it out. Okay, here I'm going to use a little scraper here in just a second. You'll see, and I'm going to actually, here's my little scraper, and I need to get some new ones because this one's really worn out. But see, I'm actually kind of chopping out the areas that's going to be very light, whether it's very white highlights or whatever. So I'm actually taking paint off, and I really enjoy using these little scrapers for this purpose. And I often will use those to just go ahead and sign the painting. Since I initially was trying to do this piece as a very much a alla prima piece, it actually took me 3 days to knock this one out. But I did go ahead right here, signed the piece with the paint scraper. It's a great way to get a good signature in. Okay, here I'm just working on the ear. I am using an Ivory long filbert. I believe that's a number 4. And I think I was showing you. Oh, and I switched back over to a sable. Because I'm working on a very slick substrate, I like using the sables because they don't leave a lot of brush marks. And if you're using a really hard brush, you'll notice that sometimes, especially initially when you're just starting out a piece, that the brush itself will take paint off that surface. So yeah, the sables do the trick. This is the series, I guess this is the Pure Red Sable Series 81 by Rosemary. Yep. Getting 2 miles in downtown. He's just chill. You would know that boy's just 5 months old. He's a good dog. Happy National Doggy Day there, see? Again, just using the sable brush, and you'll notice if you really are paying attention as far as which brushes I'm using, I use this sable almost, well, through the majority of this piece. Once I kind of did the initial laying down of paint, this one, this little brush right here will allow me to pretty much almost completely finished the piece with this one little brush. Obviously it takes more than just one brush to do a piece, but this one tends to be my little workhorse. And so yeah, this has been a really good brush. This is again Rosemary Sable, Pure Red Sable Series 81. And as awesome as those are, I just switched to a long Filbert of the Eclipse series, and I believe that's a 0 brush. But I needed to get in tight, and I needed something, you know, to be able to get into the tight little places. And when I'm working on the eye, I really do want to get the detail, and I still want to keep it soft. That's kind of the neat thing about the doughy eyes. And folks, this particular video will be available on Patreon. And yeah, if you want to see this in its full length version, which it'll probably be a couple hours long, yeah, be sure to check it out. Okay, folks, see this guy right here? He's saying he wants to go home. Okay, so this is probably where we're gonna have to leave off today because, okay, so I'm holding this in my hand because you see this guy right here? He's telling me it's time to go home. He wants to go home. He wants to play, and he's biting my hand. The guy wants to go home. He's like, come on, Ma. Let's go. I wants to go home. I've been here since 9 o'clock, and he's tired. He's a he's a tired boy. He's like, see, he's trying to grab my hand. He says, come on, Mom, we got to go home. Now, he's had his walk, and he's been awesome, and he's been a totally good boy today. But let's face it. Ouch. No bite. Stop. Down. Sit. Damn it. Sit. But yeah, you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, 5-month-old puppy, and he's like, Now he's acting like a pup, and he says, Mom, I'm bored. I've been here all day since 9 o'clock. I need to go home. So I think we need to go home, and we'll pick up on this little elk calf right here tomorrow. So this is where we're leaving off. Yeah, I'm really actually digging it so far. And here's the palette. It's well worn. I've since, from the initial start of this piece, we've added cadmium and alizarin. So it was a cadmium red medium and alizarin crimson, which is permanent alizarin crimson. What else did we add? I think that's the only two colors we added. So yeah, here's our mess, and we'll pick up tomorrow and we will finish this piece off. Okay, till then, bye. Okay, so this is where we left off yesterday. So starting back into our little elk calf, I'm going to start pulling it apart and seeing where I have errors. I think I got a little bit too much distance here. And so there's little things that I'll start to see that I need to fix today. So we're gonna go ahead on that little journey and see where we go. Okay, I started off with the longer Eclipse Filbert, but I quickly zip over and realize I need that little tiny sable again. So here we are, back to the sable brush. I do like the work of a sable like this. It's just, So I'm popping in some more heat on this part of this calf's face. So I'm using a lot of cadmium red and the China vermilion into that part of his head. And it still looks weird to me because I haven't put the highlights in around the ears or on the top of the head. So, until I do, this is kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm putting in the highlights, and it's starting to come together for me. It's really starting to click in my head. Because I'm going to start doing some of the fine detail, like the little hairs in the head, I'm switching over to the long Filbert Eclipse. I think it's a 0. And yeah, so you can see me really adding a lot of texture and putting those little hairs in and just really firm this little fella up. I'm just putting that hair in. And you can see I have the warm and the cool reds in here, and that gives the sense of shape. I mean, it gives you that, you can see it's the ear is kind of like a little cup. And yeah, so I'm digging it. I'm actually really digging this piece. Okay, I switched over to a Ivory long filbert, which is a number 2 in the Rosemary brushes, and because I'm doing larger work, so I'll adjust my brush to the amount of or volume of paint that I need to use, and so I'm starting to highlight the edges of this calf's face. I need to have the variance of value, but yet I still want it to be blended and subtle. So there's a fine line, if you will, between, or how you blur that line actually. And that's what I'm trying to do here. And you'll see I keep bringing out the nose a little bit more. And I switched and added a little bit of lamp black. I generally just use the ivory black, but I needed the depth or the actual nostrils to seem more receded. So I needed that cooler black, and that's why I switched to the lamp black there. But yeah, he's coming together. Okay, you can see I'm really starting to layer the color, and I'm putting her in these little fawn spots here on his shoulder, and you can see this big palette that's basically a mess where I'm drawing in colors, and so I had the base down underneath the cool part of his neck, and I'm adding in the lighter hairs on top. So now you're starting to understand why I have to have that cooler dark base in, and why I exaggerate so many of my colors when I initially start a piece. So, and I'm just kind of laying in those hairs, and you really kind of get that sensation of him being just a little furry creature. But that's really the trick. Ivory black. Now today here in Kingsport, it's raining right now, and my dog is like going, but when can we go for a walk? And I'm like, Singer, dude, you don't want to get out there. And he really doesn't. He's a poodle, yes, but he isn't like he says, oh, I can't wait to get out in the rain. As it was, he was trying to use the awnings when I just took him out to go potty. He was like, oh, let me walk underneath the awning so as not to get wet. I'm like, really? I showed you folks. I got to show you something that's cute. It's sad that it's raining. So he's like, but I want to go outside and play. But alas, it's raining out. And it's not just raining a little bit. It's raining pretty good today. As they say, it's springtime here. Hey, Singer, what's going on, man? Can't you go outside? Says, yeah. He's looking in my trash can because I have orange peels in there. Surely to goodness he's not eating orange peels. I know you're bored, sweetheart, but really? Orange peels? Oh, well. You're a good boy, though. Is Singer a good boy? He's a good dog. Now Mama's got to get back to painting. Got that calf to finish up. He's starting to look like a proper little calf. And interesting, you know, I don't expect that everybody would have to have the basic knowledge of or the anatomy of the animal that they're painting. But it doesn't hurt to at least do a little research. I wanted to make sure that I got all his little structures in. And here I'm working around his jaw. And being a proper little ruminant, he's going to have a really strong jaw for chewing. So, you know, I'm just trying to get all those little areas in properly. And, you know, knowing, you know, I wanted him to look like an elk and not like a white-tailed deer or a mule deer. And interesting enough, when I was looking for the photo references, and I went on just one of the free services, like Pixabay or something like that, and you put in elk, and I happened to see that there wasn't just elk calves in there. There were mule deer. And I thought, you know, if you don't know the animal that you're painting and you just grab something offline, you might not really know what you're painting. So just throwing that out there. Okay, and you can see I'm adding even lighter values on top, and that's really how you kind of get the volume in the fur whenever you're painting fur. You've really got to pay mind to where your cool temperatures and how you bring it up with a lighter value in this case. And I'm just kind of highlighting some of the outside hairs to look like he's almost like he's backlit. And I hope that you've been listening to the sound of the elk in the background. That's a male, that's a big old bull elk bugling for you. So yeah, when this little fella grows up, maybe that's what he'll sound like too. she did this. What the hell? No, I think it's working. I think it's gonna be just fine. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit more of a shine here than what I have. I had a little, I'm following that. I know, saying I'm getting it. He's being such a good boy. He's saying, please, please, I must go out. All right. Now he's actually barking. He's barking at my dog's, Phoebe's portrait. I think the ghost of Phoebe remains here at the studio, and he is just not acknowledging that, maybe. Who knows? See, you just didn't know that when you, how much animal stuff you're going to get on a given day here at my studio. Where else are you going to get actual dog barks? And you know me, I'll have music in the background, probably with elk bugling or something. The sound of elk and maybe even calves. Because I'm weird like that. I like to do stuff like that. Okay. I'm going to switch to the other eye. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Let's go ahead and take it down to a little bit. Oh, look at that little baby. I'm going to go ahead and see, he has eyelashes. He really has beautiful eyelashes. And I can't see him here, but I'm going to go ahead and suggest some. Because I have it on this eye and I can see it, and sometimes they will, oh yeah, that's good. Shine, even though you can't see a shine in this eye. I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit. Folks, I think we're done. And my dog did not poop on the floor. I'll give you a no poop guarantee here. And I will walk my dog in the rain because he's asking to go out. All right. Okay. Now, of course, I will end up doing a glazed varnish. I have a really pretty frame already picked out. I'll show it to you. I'll pop this sucker in there just so you can see. All right. Let's zoom back out and we'll talk about this here. Now, I could probably do, there's going to be little whiskers and stuff, and I may add some stuff like that. But see, my photo reference does not show them. And I'm afraid to just assume where they go. I mean, as it was, I went ahead and put eyelashes in that I cannot see. Let's get that in there. Just a little bit more definition. Went in with a little bit of King's Blue and kind of a brownish color. Okay, there is a yeah, so it's little tiny things like this. I'm actually fixing a little bit of this little eyelid here. And it goes a little grayer down here. There we go. You know, I think we got it. There seems to be a little bit more of an angle here. I'm gonna put a little bit, you know, get it, Singer. I get it. Dude, you're awesome. You're an awesome dog. Just chill. I know, honey. I chilled that down a little bit too much. Let's get that a little bit in there. Okay. Oh, Singer, stop. I know what time. I know what. Okay. Folks, I think we are done. Unless I add something else to it. I think we're done, so let me back it out. Here we are. I wanted to just show you the little frame I was going to pop it into. This will be going to North Carolina, this painting. So all my pieces that are, well, most of my pieces anyway, that go to North Carolina are framed. So there we have it. There's the little calf. If I can get in a little bit, hopefully I'm not angling this weird, because it's what's so strange. If I hold it this way versus if I hold it this way, we have a whole different perspective, and I'm trying to hold it correctly so you can actually see the calf structure correctly, and I think that's probably about right. Okay, so if you really look closely, you can see that the colors are layered up, and even the spots, the fawn spots there, they're layered as well, with the hair going over it in different areas. I did try to suggest this calf has eyelashes there, because I knew that you can see the eyelashes on the other eye. But anyway, this is our piece. Like I said, it's going to sit in the window and dry for a while. And once it's dry, I will put a Gamvar type varnish on it, and off to, let's see, I guess it's June that I go to North Carolina. I'll be featured there at one of the galleries that I'm in. This is and this particular gallery is Twigs and Leaves Gallery in Waynesville, North Carolina. And great gallery. If you're in Waynesville, you gotta go. It's such a small, quaint town, but it's got lots of cool shops. And if you like to go to like the Cherokee National Forest, and you would really enjoy stopping into this little town of Waynesville, North Carolina. So yes, this is where this one's heading to Twigs and Leaves, and you'll be sure to check that place out. Well, we got it done. I got it done, and I was able to finish this calf piece before anything bad happened. You know, if you'll recall, Singer was like clamoring to get out. It was pouring rain. We hadn't gotten our walk in yet. It was late in the afternoon, and the dog is saying, I got to go out. So we had that little race to the end, and everything worked out just fine. So here is our completed piece of the little calf, and it's gonna go in the window to dry for a little while. And you know, sometimes I'll look my calf over, and see if there's anything else that needs to be done. But I'm pretty satisfied with how he turned out. And yeah, I hope you like it too. I hope you enjoyed this particular video. And I do want to thank you for joining me. Know that I will be in Waynesville, North Carolina for the event where I'll be the featured artist at the Twigs and Leaves Art Gallery, and that will be June the 5th, and I believe it's from 11 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, of course, all COVID precautions are being taken, but yes, I'll be there, and I hope you can come by and see me there in North Carolina, Waynesville. Check it out, and yeah, and I'm hoping that this little calf will find a home. So again, also, I do want to say that if you do have any questions whatsoever about anything I covered in the video, go ahead and leave it in the comment section. And I will give a better description of some of the paintbrushes I'm using. I will even leave links to those paintbrushes, because a lot of people are asking me, like, what was that paintbrush? What was that paintbrush? And I'm trying to show you a little bit more about some of the paintbrushes. Know that this video, if you're watching it on YouTube, is available on my Patreon channel in its full length. I know you're seeing it on YouTube in a little bit more of an expedited version, which you might not actually catch what the paintbrushes are, but I will leave them in the description, the actual link to the paintbrushes. So do check that out, and I think you'll be happy that you did, especially if you buy some of the Rosemary's, and just follow that link and it'll take you to the right place. Okay, so again, thanks so much for joining me, and to all my folks out there who have been watching videos, I do appreciate you so very much. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe, and you know, go ahead and hit that little bell so you'll know when the next video comes out. And until then, I will see you later from Kingsport, Tennessee. Bye.